So once he just goes this,
Okay.
let's start.
Mic is on.
Let's start with the theme.
Okay.
हाँ अभी भी करूँगा ना, and then you say
Silent guys,
you can make a joke on it and say okay I think we are live, save this for later. Ready?
So, I am delighted to be here today. This now?
Oh,
Chetan,
sorry. Hi,
Chetan,
hi,
this
sorry,
is
guys.
for when we unveil the book.
Okay,
We are
okay.
already live, by the way.
Okay. Oh, hi guys.
So-
I'm here with a very dear friend Ashwin Sanghi. Thank you for doing this for me.
Thank you, Chetan. It's a pleasure to be here. When I had just started out my journey as an author, one of the people who encouraged me the most was dear Chetan.
And
So-
you've written what, 6 books now?
Yeah, now about close to 10 odd books.
10.
But let me tell you, I'm feeling a little odd because how do I introduce someone like Chetan? It's so difficult. So should I do the formal intro with a couple of paras
Well,
about
I mean,
you?
up to you.
A couple of paras for sake of formality. Author of 10 blockbuster books, 8 novels, 2 non-fiction titles.
Yes.
And
And this is the third one today.
of course, and so many bestsellers, so many successful Bollywood adaptations, and of course, besides what the New York Times has said about him and what
अच्छा,
Time
ठीक है,
magazine
हो
has
गया,
said,
अभी
वो
कोई
सब
रिश्ता
ठीक
थोड़ा
है,
ना लड़का,
बिल्कुल,
कोई लड़का देखने
बिल्कुल,
थोड़ा जा रहे
छोड़
हैं।
देते हैं. But the point is that I think what we can do is we can get rid of this red color cover so that we at least have it in the backdrop
Yes.
when we are talking.
So guys, we are launching my new non-fiction book today. We'll talk a bit about it, and I'm very excited, not so much for the book, but also because I've thought of this super cliched idea of putting Star Wars music on my phone when we do it. Okay,
So
are you ready?
You'll get the music ready.
May the force
Be with you.
Okay, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Chetan. Congratulations.
Okay, so there it is.
So what a lovely cover. India Positive, new essays and selected columns, simple takes on India's burning issues.
Yeah.
So let me ask you the first most obvious question. What is this about?
Okay. Well, I mean, you know, I've had a lot of fiction novels,
Yes.
and I also started writing columns for newspapers. And there are people who read a lot of my stories, but there is a section of people who enjoy my columns also.
Like me.
Yeah.
I would not have read all your fictional novels, but I do read your column.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
One of the things that I like is the utter simplicity.
Exactly.
And which I can notice is there on the cover, simple takes.
Yeah, you know, I would not claim to be an expert. I am not an expert.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody counts me as an intellectual, and neither am I. If someone calls me that, it's almost like it's almost always sarcasm. But so I think where I can add value to national issues is make sure people who get daunted by expert opinions or noisy TV debates, sometimes they also want to understand in a
Yes.
simple way what's happening in Kashmir,
Yes.
or what's happening with the job situation,
Correct.
or what's happening with their politics, who's likely to win, or
Yes.
but they don't want very complicated arguments, which may be very good, but that's not what they want. And that's basically a lot of young people. So for them, I felt a book like this is good. It has a lot of new essays, and it has some of my earlier columns that became hits. In
Right.
fact, this time we also put hit tweets.
Oh, wow.
People who liked
Yeah.
my tweets, you know, we just as a page of
That's right.
fillers, we've done that. So I think it's just a book. Literally, I'm telling you, like if a lot of young people face interviews, and if they're sitting in an interview and someone asks them, so what do you have to say about the Pulwama attacks?
Correct.
You not only have to say what happened, you have to give your take on it. But if
Absolutely.
you want a simple take, maybe India Positive is for you.
Beautiful. But tell me something. If you were to just sort of think in terms of the big burning issues which are facing our country today,
Yeah.
let's say you were to just look at the top 3.
Yeah.
What, in your opinion, are those top 3?
Yeah, I think my opinion matches with what a lot of the surveys, like there was a Pew survey that just came out yesterday that said unemployment is the big issue, terrorism is another one of the big issues, and I think these two are big issues. I think to a certain extent, if you're asking me for 3, maybe communal harmony is
Yeah.
also a big issue. I
Yeah.
think these 3 are the big actual issues. I'm not talking of identity politics.
Yes.
I'm not doing that kind of analysis.
That's right.
On how the voting will be done. But I think if you talk of actual issues, I think these 3 things you'll often find a lot of discussion on: terrorism, jobs, and just a secular kind of
Yeah.
tolerant place.
Yes, wonderful. No, I think probably the issues that you have talked about are the issues which are there on a lot of people's minds.
Yeah.
But tell me something. Do you think it's going to matter as to which government now comes into power?
Yeah, and that's the basic thrust of this book. Why it's called India Positive is this. Listen, now we are in 2019. It's
Yes.
not 2014.
Yes.
It's not 2009. So we have, if you've been around for the last 10 years,
Yes.
you've seen a 5-year Congress government and you've seen a 5-year BJP government.
Yes.
Without prejudice to any one of them, you've now seen both of them operate. Maybe you like one of them more and maybe you like the other one more. But if you think about it, the issues that face India are the same.
That's
We
right.
still had the Kashmir problem then. We still had unemployment as an
Yes.
issue then. It's not like it has suddenly come in.
Yeah.
We still had inflation. We still had communal harmony issues were there. You may say some have risen, some have gone down, whatever. But largely, it doesn't matter so much anymore. How does it make a difference to you who's watching? Honestly, whoever becomes your prime minister. Now, and let me just explain that. Is anybody going to come and therefore in 2 weeks later you're going to get a great job letter? You're not going to get a job offer. But if you learn artificial intelligence, if you learn coding, maybe you'll get a job offer. So I think it's time to focus on self. It's time to be positive about India that yeah, we are changing. In 10 years, we have changed. There are a lot more airports. The train stations are a bit cleaner. Things are, the data is a lot cheaper for sure. A lot of things are improved. But there's a lot of work that needs to be done. But that's not party specific.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. If you're a young person and you're wasting 2 hours a day on Twitter trying to defend Congress or trying to defend BJP, I'm not sure it's a great return on
So do you think, frankly, politics does not matter?
Politics matters maybe for you and me, maybe we are
Sure.
writers and we
Sure.
find it interesting to analyze, we study society. But to be honest, Ashwin, I think and I say this with full responsibility because I talk about politics a lot, but it's my job. But for an average young Indian, it doesn't matter so much.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. Adding skills to yourself matters.
So in that sense, India Positive is actually a little bit about India selfish. Be a little more selfish and think about yourself.
That is what one of the names I had in mind was India Selfish. But I just felt it had a little negative connotation. And I also talk about being positive on India. It's not like you don't care about India's issues, but you also at the same time focus on yourself.
Yes.
You grow yourself, the country will grow. You add skill to yourself, you add more value to society.
Of course.
Call it selfishness, call it investing in yourself, call it doing something for the country.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. But fighting on Twitter or fighting on social media all day, defending your leader, come on. It's 2019.
But
man.
that brings me to another point, that you seem to be so comfortable with the trolls. I mean, it doesn't matter to you because I have seen your positions. Sometimes you take a very strong pro-government, sometimes it's a very
and that's the
opposition.
worst, it's a very worst situation.
Because you're dhobi ka kutta, as it were. Na ghar ka, na ghat ka.
Yeah, they're going to send those satellite bombs to you on all sides. Sorry, we just heard that there is something called a satellite bomb. Frankly, I didn't know much about them. But
Right.
Yeah, but now I think you get hit on both sides. I don't think I ever get comfortable with them. That's like saying Indians are comfortable with mosquitoes. We are little more comfortable but they are still annoying. It's not like Indians love mosquitoes. It's not like we can we still buy Good Night and
So how
All
do you
Out.
deal with it?
For mosquitoes, we buy All Out, Good Night, Kachua Chap. But for trolls, there is not that much cure. I think I just try to ignore them. I don't go to my mentions that much. I say what I have to say. Sometimes we even wonder, like even now I think we are going live on Twitter also, and we were like, oh, what will people say? Somebody's going to troll, and it's a happy occasion for me.
Yeah.
It's like I've worked so hard on this, and it's finally. But then we decided to go for it because it's okay. It doesn't matter as long as I am India positive. Right. I believe that my country has more good things than bad. It has some very bad things, but it has more good things than bad.
Yeah.
So yes. Twitter also, I'm going to try and be Twitter positive. There's a lot of positive people on Twitter also
of course.
who are just watching this, they're just enjoying this, and they just want to go through their day without really being rude to anyone.
Absolutely.
There are people like that, believe it or not. It sometimes feels,
I know.
you see,
they may be the minority,
they
possibly.
or even if they're the majority, they're silent.
Yeah.
They're not commenting away. They're just watching. If I put a post and it has 5,000 likes and 20 troll comments. I mean, 5,000 people did like it. So
Yes.
we tend to forget all that. So I think I've just learned to live with the mosquitoes.
Wonderful. That's amazing. That's amazing. Tell me something. What goes through your head when you sit down to think in terms of a column? I mean, how do those issues come before you?
Yeah,
do you
I
have a
think
list of topics? Or?
it's a good question. You know, always there are some issues which are burning, which means it has happened this week. Pulwama happened this week. Now, there's a lot of temptation to write on Pulwama because, but then you suddenly find that in the newspaper there are 20 columnists writing on Pulwama.
That's right.
And then there are some issues which are important, but not breaking news, like the state of higher education in the country. There's nothing that has happened. No college has been burned down.
Right.
So, like, there is no burning literally issue there. But it's a big problem. I mean, you know, our youngsters are not trained enough. A survey came, 80% of engineers are not fit to get a job, or for a PN's job, you have some 20,000 people applying in a government job. So those are also important issues. So I try to do a balance. So I say half will be urgent because it's tempting to write on urgent because you get a lot more traction.
Yes.
And half will be things that need to be discussed, may not be breaking
May not
news.
be urgent, but they are important.
Yeah. And then at the end of the year, believe it or not, Twitter may not believe this, I do an inventory, which columns were connected to politics. So those are aside. And the ones that were connected to politics, how much had a pro-BJP slant, how many had a pro-Congress slant. And I try to keep the number equal. It's like at that level of planning I do. Individually, you know, I may criticize one policy of one and one of the other. So it may seem, if you're seeking a confirmation bias, that okay, he's pro this and he's pro that. But on a macro level, even in this book, it's equal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful. But tell me, Chetan, how are we doing for time?
We are
guys?
doing okay.
Yeah?
I think 10
We're
more
okay.
minutes.
So, you know, I just see you all over the place.
Yeah.
I mean, you're in television studios. You are giving lectures. You still manage to turn out a novel every other year and a non-fiction title every other year. So, which means a book every year.
Yeah.
You're doing columns every week.
Every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks. So, I mean,
It's too much and I'm burning out. How old are you now?
I'm 50.
Yeah, I'm 44, 45 next month. And I think it's too much. And I have cut down. So you wouldn't have seen me in a TV debate for a while, especially since they made the number of windows 16. I don't want to be the 16th guy waiting for my 10 seconds to be shouted at by someone. So those are out now. I have to focus on what is important. And I think what is important is books.
Yeah.
So television is something I'm cutting down on. Even this, we are doing it on social media. But social media is a part of who we are today. But even there, I'm reducing.
Yeah.
One of the ways to deal with trolls and to be happy in your 40s is to not tweet that much.
Yeah.
So although we are broadcasting this live
Yeah.
everywhere, but that's because it's a special announcement.
Yeah, but I've seen that proactively the number of tweets that you put out are rather limited. It's not as if you're doing it all the time.
No, I'm not doing. Yeah, there are people on Twitter who are like on it,
Yes,
right? They are
yes.
like clued in. They probably have their
That's
notifications on,
Exactly.
and they're hitting back at every
That's
reply and arguing. I actually never do that, but the few tweets that I've done have been so out there and controversial sometimes that I get attention. So I'm trying to cut down. I don't think it's a good idea for me to do all this and be all over the place. I think we live in times where there is so much content everywhere, so we try to get a piece of everything, but I think there's a lot of grace and dignity in what people like you do. You've done 10 books, you know, and I think I'm also following that model now.
No. In fact, this audience must know that when my first book came out in 2008, one of the first people I called up was you.
Yes.
And
but see, you kept at it, and I think that's for the other aspiring writers who are watching this, two of us here. You also don't have a writing background. In fact, your family has car dealerships, from my understanding.
Absolutely.
So, but you know,
I was always much more into bookkeeping than book reading.
yeah, that's true. So it's one thing to even start and do one book and two books, but to keep at it, you know, it doesn't get easier.
No,
it actually is harder.
And frankly, you're only as good as your last book.
Yeah, it's very much, and
you know?
So I think it requires a lot of focus, and it's a little lonely.
Yeah,
it's a very lonely job. So it's nice that this is so rare that we do this. So I think I am trying to focus more on that and cut a bit.
And to a certain extent, there was, you know, what comes to my mind, that wonderful quote by Somerset Maugham, who said that there are 3 rules for writing a novel. Unfortunately, no one knows what they are.
Yeah.
You seem to be a person who either knows all the rules or you've broken all the rules. I don't know which one you fall
No,
into.
I don't know the rules. I don't know, and it's exhausting for me. You know, I have cleared some very tough entrance exams. I'm not bragging, but I have. And those were easier than writing books, believe it or not. So that's how hard it is, guys.
And this time I noticed, even with your fiction, you seem to have made a departure from your normal fiction.
Yeah,
it's a little more thrillerish in that sense.
Yeah, a little more. I mean, who believes in that love these days? Or 2 years chasing a person and unrequited love for 3 years. That's so pre-4G. People are now WhatsApping, and if the other person is showing a response, it's fine. Otherwise, they move to the next one. So I think we live in a different times where love stories love will always remain, but it will have a different meaning. So I added a little more thriller element and more social media element and a lot of WhatsApp and Instagram in that book, The Girl in Room 105, my last one. The idea is that my first book, 5.7, there were no mobile phones in that book.
Right.
Because there were no mobile phones then.
Right.
It was from my college times.
Yeah.
And then the next one night at a call center, they were SMSing each other.
A lot of people ask that when you write a book, are you thinking about a movie at that time?
Not at that time, no.
No.
In fact, I've given a pause to movies. Right. I mean, I've not done anything with the last 2-3 books because I am giving a pause and focusing on writing right now. I don't have to think about a movie because if someone has to make it, we'll just change the book.
Exactly.
We just adapt it. It's called an adaptation. So I don't think that's there in my mind. Wonderful. If it was, then I should be having 50-year-old characters because because our superstars are 50. I mean, that's how the logic works. I mean, you know, you get a movie which is a star vehicle for the biggest stars. So I would never do that. So
wonderful.
You know, so
wonderful. It's been great chatting with Chetan as always, and we should first plug in the pre-order bit, right?
Yes.
I mean, this book is now on pre-order.
Yeah. So we share the same publisher.
That's right.
Westland, which is wonderful, and they're owned by Amazon. And Amazon itself has the pre-order link, which is there. If it's on Instagram, you can swipe up. If on Twitter, on Facebook, there'll be separate posts with that link. Or you just go to Amazon.com and search on India Positive Chetan Bhagat, and that link is there. The book I think comes out end of April, early May. So you can have the first copy with you. I'll try to sign a few of them. So please do order. It'll help you in an interesting way understand about India. Maybe we can do some people's questions.
Of course, we should. We must do a couple of questions.
Okay. So that's my team there. A lot of people behind this camera, which people can't see, but they'll speak out.
So,
Virali,
give us the first
you have a question?
2 or 3.
Okay, guys, if you have any questions now, just send them on whatever platform you're watching this on.
What kind of burning questions have you covered in this?
Okay, so I've covered pretty much all that has happened in India in the last year and a half. Whatever has made headlines, like Kashmir, like the elections, you know, things like the economy, things like jobs, all these things that matter to you are there in the issues.
How many signed copies are going to be there?
You pre-order it, I'll arm twist Amazon into doing as many. We'll do a lot.
Yeah.
Somebody is asking, would you call it a
Say their name also.
Would you call it a self-help book?
self-help book?
It's not a self-help book, but it is non-fiction. It's self-help to the extent that if you read it, you will not be ill-informed about India's issues. You'll have something to say on the budget. You'll have something to say on Pulwama, and it will be told to you in a very simple manner.
Probably also a feel-good book, right?
A feel-good book.
To feel good
about India. See, India has done some things really well in the last 10 years. I'm not saying 5 because then they'll accuse me that I'm supporting this. In the last 10 years to now, look at your cell phones, look at your airports, look at your railway stations, look at just the overall cleanliness, look at the online shopping that has come. Some of it is government related, some of it is non-government related. Yes. But we are progressing. Our per capita income also, maybe we want more GDP, but 7% for 10 years doubles your GDP, you know.
Do you believe that many of these things that you've talked about are probably on autopilot irrespective of government?
I think so. Some are secular trends. I mean, I think technology is something which has taken over the world. You know, the use of phones and apps and all these internet-based businesses have created a huge startup culture in India. So some of the things are just the times we are living in. But to the extent the government has also I mean, I think in India you should just compliment the government if they don't place a hurdle.
Hurdle,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Despite them, it's gone.
And what do you think about this right versus left debate?
I think it's just too much, guys.
It's become too extreme.
It's too much. I mean, you know, what are you even trying to do? Basically, people just, those who are Modi fans want to hear that Modi is amazing.
Yes.
And then they will clap for you, retweet you, like you, whatever. And the Congress fans want to say that Modi is horrible and Rahul is great. Now, what is it even achieving? If you, every day you come on Twitter and do that, what is it even achieving? If we instead
Yes.
actually discuss why there are no jobs.
That's
you know?
right.
Why are there no jobs? Is it an issue of how people are trained in colleges? Is it because we don't have manufacturing plants? Is it because it's hard to set up manufacturing in India? Why aren't we manufacturing like China? We actually discuss this rather than saying, oh, we don't have jobs because of Nehru. We don't have jobs because of Modi.
Yeah.
I mean, you know,
It's almost childish.
It's childish, it's foolish, and you're just trying to insult each other. At least, I don't think me as a writer, I'm playing my part well. I can very easily compose a tweet right now which will praise Modi, and I guarantee you it will get more likes than any of my sensible tweets about what we should do to solve India's problems. Or I put a tweet against Modi and then I'll get. And there are many people doing it, and they're big influencers. I won't name them, but they're big influencers doing that. I just want to tell them, I mean, what are you really doing this for? Even publications, online subscription publications, they are all finding, unless they take a pro-right or pro-left stance, they don't get subscribers.
Absolutely. They're caught in the middle.
Yeah. So they are like, you'll have publication, again, I won't name them, who'll never write an article praising Modi.
Yes.
And there are publications who will never write an article criticizing Modi. If you think you're adding value to society, I don't know. If you're creating a business, yeah, maybe there's a business. People like to hear what they believe in.
They like to hear their own preconceived notions in that sense.
Yeah, people like to, you know, form
would we
cults.
like to take one more question?
There's a guy called Surya Kiran who's saying, nice discussion, sir. What do you want to say about the title you chose for this book?
Okay, well, the title of the book is the title of the opening essay. You'll have to read the book, frankly, and I want to encourage you to read the book to find out why it's called India Positive. But it basically talks about an India Positive person, somebody whose overall attitude towards India is that it's a good place. It has more good things than bad. It has some bad things, I recognize. And I'm going to try and really solve those problems, and I'm going to focus on myself. Notice that I never mentioned Congress and BJP in this. It's not important.
Yeah.
You've tried them both now. Come on. You've tried them both. Was it really that different between the two of them?
Perfect. So, on that note, I think we should, take one more.
One last.
One more. Yeah, lovely.
Nishkarsh asks, when do you both tend to write something together?
Oh, we
That
never
will
know.
depend- that
We'll
will
know.
depend on
Maybe
Chetan.
we'll do something.
Who knows?
We can book, maybe is a very big one, but at least we can do columns together or something, or do more debates like this at a lit fest or something. I've had a really enjoyable time doing this. So we will be doing this, and it's a good suggestion.
Great.
Okay.
Before you end it, can you just announce when the book is releasing?
Okay. Okay, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I have not launched a satellite missile or whatever, but I have launched a book today, which maybe you can read and you will enjoy and you will learn about India. This is also important. Love stories are important, thrillers are important, but this is also important. The book comes out 1st of May 2019, but the pre-orders are open now on Amazon. You please can go to the Amazon link by swiping up on Instagram or Facebook and Twitter. We are putting separate posts for that, or just go to Amazon and search for India Positive by Chetan Bhagat, and yeah, you can have your copy pretty soon. There's a special discount also, I think, which is there today if you order, so please go for it.
So please go to Amazon and pre-order this book.
Yeah, and when is your next book coming?
My next book, hopefully sometime between now and December of this year.
Now in December.
Yeah.
Wow, is it ready? Do you want?
So
can you-
I have I've done about half my manuscript, which is the 6th book
And
in
what
the
is it
Bharat
about?
series. It's the 6th book in the Bharat series, so it will have a historical, mythological theme.
Okay.
But I think this time I've turned my attention down south towards the Pallava dynasty.
Oh, nice.
So I
You're
think it
far
should be
away from
interesting.
today's politics. Huh?
Absolutely, thankfully so.
But do you see parallels from
Of course
history
they
and
are.
now?
Of course
For
they are.
example.
So, I mean, I think it was probably Sun Tzu who said that politics is simply war without bloodshed. So
Wow.
we took battles and chariots and elephants in the old days to settle political disputes. Today we bring down governments.
Yeah, or we do tweets.
Or we do tweets, you know. So actually the nature, fundamental nature of politics has not changed.
Same.
And of course, my favorite definition of politics is poly as in many and ticks, which are blood-sucking creatures. So, I mean,
I kind of agree with that. But it was great talking to you. Thank you guys for tuning in. This will be available for a while afterwards also. So those who came in now or missed it, you can always watch it again. Please do share with your friends as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Chetan, and congratulations.
Thank you.